Hey everybody, you got David Abrams here along with Zach P. Johnson. What's going on everybody? How are you doing today? Go ahead and say hi in the chat. I realized about 1 second before we just launched here that I had the chat set to private. So if you see chat as private, just go ahead and refresh the screen and it should flip over to public for you. I just changed that right now, but want to welcome everybody. We're starting right here, right on at 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. Eastern. So we'll give it a couple of minutes as people kind of chime in and come in here. But welcome, Zach. Thanks for joining me today.
Dude, happy to be here, man. I'm so stoked about everything you guys are doing and the journey you guys are on. So happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. You're on the exact same kind of journey there, dude. And just so everyone knows, Zach is not working in a sauna today. He's actually sitting in one of his stand-up little rooms here.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, kind of looks.
I'm sweating it out. You know, I'm a big multitasker, try to be as efficient as possible, lose weight, do a webinar, do an interview all at the same time.
I got health and business going on at the same time. It's badass.
That's so funny.
How's everyone doing today, guys? I only got a couple of highs. Everyone say hello if you're here. Tell me how your week is going. Just say hi, guys. This is our totally interactive call every week, so we thrive off the engagement. So I would love to just see you guys chiming in. As usual, we'll do our different segments here where we go through lots of questions and we do lots of interaction here. But we'll kind of start off, Zach, with your story. As people kind of come in here, I would love to just start with your journey, kind of hear a little bit about how you got started. You've done something really, really amazing in FunnelDash. I've been following your journey for a while. Honestly, learned a lot about you guys, watching a lot about the Foundation Summit, which I thought was just a great interview. But I had followed you guys before that, honestly, and just a really cool story. So I would love to know, how you got started on this whole thing. And we were just kind of talking about something cool before, SWAS. Would love to learn all that kind of stuff and hear how that's going.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's really been an interesting ride, and it never plays out the way that you think it's going to play out. But really, for me, we've been been in online marketing for I would say 6-7 years now. And I would say my experience at Ontraport and Leadpages was pretty foundational in terms of really just the mechanics of webinar campaigns and Facebook ads and running a marketing team and being part of a software startup and really experiencing kind of hyper growth. And I would say that part of my frustration and my kind of the bane of my existence along the way was really being managed by what have you done for me lately type of management styles. Both when I had private clients and also when I was really an agency. And then I would say part of that was with the inspiration of creating a FunnelDash was hey, make it easy to essentially get access to marketing metrics and get access to marketing KPIs and get access to the data that really was hey, we're putting $1 in, we're getting $3 out. So that's kind of what we're focused on.
I guess tell me a little bit about how you got started. Lots of construction going on back there, so it sounds good. But I guess tell us a little bit about what lessons did you learn from Leadpages and Ontraport? You said there was a lot of growth going on. I know Leadpages grew super fast. Ontraport did too.
Yeah.
What were some of the lessons that you learned that you kind of took away that you brought into your business as FunnelDash and kind of your service-based area?
Sorry, say that one more time. You cut out.
Totally. So what were some of those lessons that you feel like you learned?
Oh my gosh,
from
dude.
Leadpages or Ontraport? Just maybe one or two.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that changed the game for me was how do you scale? When I first went into Leadpages, for example, and was running the marketing, it was hey, we want to scale paid traffic as a new channel. Content marketing is doing really well for us. Affiliate marketing is doing great. Scale it. And it was here we have this webinar, we have this e-course funnel, go. And in my kind of journey to scale that in a really big way, or where, we could spend 6 figures a month in ad spend, you go to like these agencies and you're like, hey, what's the value of an email? What's the value of a customer? How much are you willing to pay for a click lead and a customer? And it's like, I didn't have the answer to those questions. I was like, I don't know. How do I figure that out? I was like, okay, well, dive into Infusionsoft, look at my Facebook spend, look at my pixel conversions, look at my Google Analytics. And I'm looking at like all these different sources to really figure out like how does a lead and a customer mature over time, and really tracking lifetime value of opt-ins, lifetime value of customers, tracking lifetime ROI of spend was just a nightmare. And I mean, we use like every analytics tool under the sun. And it was kind of the easiest way to really simplify ad spend. It's like, okay, well, an agency would come to me and be like, hey, we can get you leads on Facebook for less than $5 or $2 or $3. Can we scale that? And I'm like, I don't even know what a lead is worth to my business. So I can't even say yes or no, like as to whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And so part of that frustration was like, okay, how do we connect like ad spend, like over here, to your funnel, and then to like the lifetime revenue that's all unlocked in your Stripe account and your Infusionsoft account, and create this kind of closed loop analytics advertising reporting system. And it was that frustration at those companies, and then also validating that with an agency for about 1.5 years before we had ventured into actually starting to build it, in 2016. And when you know those numbers, like it just, your confidence in your ability to invest in ad spend, both for yourself, your own business, and your clients, if you work with clients, goes through the roof. So going from spending a couple $1,000s here and there and trying to justify that ad spend to being able to spend big money and being confident in that investment is everything.
So really just part of that big scale that you learned was understanding your numbers, understanding lifetime value, ROI, really dialing in on the analytics that kind of helped you to just understand scale. So once you knew your numbers, scale became a lot easier. Is that kind of how you would say it?
Yeah, pretty much. Scaling with confidence and clarity and precision are all the classic, fancy sayings of really like why those numbers, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't really want to make decisions based off numbers. I don't really, we're not big numbers people. But I think that that when you have those numbers, like that is the vehicle to deliver confidence in your investment in marketing. And I see a lot of people get stuck with their funnels not scaling because they don't have confidence in the asset that they just spent 3 or 6 months building. It just kind of piddlers along because they never get real confidence to be like, okay, we just spent 20 grand building this funnel. Now let's go throw whatever, 100 grand in ad spend, because a lot of people just don't know if their funnel's good or bad, or if it's like working or not, or how well is it working. And I think that what I've learned along the way is the highest and best definition of a really successful marketing funnel is a funnel produces the highest customer values and the highest lead values in the shortest amount of time. That's like a good marketing funnel. And when you have a funnel that produces an ROI at day 0 or day 30, that's how you know you've got something good. And I see a lot of people get stuck in this like funnel building purgatory, right? Even our clients, right, with the agency business. And honestly, I made this mistake. Like when I was starting FunnelDash, we went crazy. We went this like 4-part video series and stacked on a webinar. And I mean, we spent so much time like just building a funnel, and none of it was based off of data. None of it was based off of like what we think, what our ROI would be and whatnot. And so part of what we're doing now with FunnelDash is just helping people get out of like this funnel building mode and into just funnel scaling with numbers. Right. So.
And last week we actually talked about, we had Kyle Graham on here, founder of 10-minute funnels. And he was talking about his MVF, minimum viable funnel. Like, so doing like the baseline funnel that you need to get up and running to take action. Right.
Yeah.
But from an advertising point of view, since you do so much advertising, that's kind of like, you're driving so much traffic, you're looking at the numbers, really running scale. What do you kind of attribute to your testing budget? So you're not just blowing money into a funnel that you don't know yet. How long are you giving yourself to test? Is there a certain amount of visitors or traffic numbers that you're using as baseline numbers? When do you switch audiences? Like, how are you doing that? Because I think most people get stuck there. They start running some traffic, it doesn't work, they get frayed, then they go back to building mode, and then they never really get back out of it. So where are you kind of finding that balance in there?
Well, yeah, so this actually was a big part of why we decided to make FunnelDash free for 30 days with no credit card. And a lot of it kind of was also inspired by your guys' free trial of beta, during your beta period. And I think we'll continue with it for a while, because a lot of people, when they come into FunnelDash, you can add our script on your landing page, you connect your Infusionsoft, your Ontraport, Stripe account, whatever, and you define your funnel. And you come back and you look at your funnel performance every week, but the longer you use it, it's like wine, the better it gets, right? The longer it's there. So with our free trial, people figure out what is a 30-day, by the end of their trial, they know what a lead is worth, a customer is worth, and an opt-in is worth across all their funnels, across one funnel. And sometimes it might, a lead might only be worth $3 or $5 or even $1, but at least that bit of information is enough for you to be like, okay, assuming kind of all our traffic converts the same, this is what our KPIs can be, going into Facebook ads. And then when you know that, you can start to test audiences and creatives, getting 20 to 100 clicks on a creative to really test the click-through rate, or getting 100 opt-ins on a particular audience to really see how those leads really come into play. But 100 is that kind of as enough statistically significant data from a lead standpoint or click standpoint that we generally use as a rule of thumb. And there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but there's a ton of people out there that aren't spending like big money on ad spend, and that's why we have these funnel dashboards to help them kind of get some baseline KPIs, because that was my story. I didn't know it, and we tried tools in both camps, right? Like in the world of analytics, there's like all your analytics tools, and then there's all your dashboard tools. There's and they, like none of them seem to like talk to each other very well. And all
the analytics tools give you different data. It's like everyone is saying something different, so you're not really sure what's the right one.
Yeah. So we could go on and on about that for days.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I think you gave some really good information there. So using like 100 as the metric there for really a test sample. So you're looking for maybe 100 opt-ins to get through to see what your LTV is, or ROI, or the cost per your revenue per lead, stuff like that. So just giving you some baseline data, not putting too much in up front so you can get some initial data back. Would you say about 30 days is a good period of time to see what comes out of your funnel?
Oh, yeah. 30 days. Definitely like a 30-day lead value would be huge.
Perfect. Guys, do you have any questions on that stuff? I just want to really want to make sure everyone's involved in this conversation, because we are kind of talking a little bit more advanced stuff today, directly advertising stuff, and we have an amazing expert here. So do you guys have any questions, all of you guys that are on here today, any questions about advertising or your test budgets, timelines that you'll need in testing? So just pop them in chat, guys, and we'll go through them.
Pop them in the chat.
And
one of the
pop them in the chat.
One of the interesting things that we've really gotten good insight on, and I'd say part of my journey of working at Ontraport and Leadpages was that I think is a big contributing factor to my success as a marketer is being behind the scenes and seeing through like thousands of automation campaigns and seeing through thousands of statistically significant, landing pages. And now seeing behind the scenes of hundreds and soon to be thousands of ad campaigns that are connected to real ROI to see what's getting the best ROI. And, just in our kind of private beta period over the last 6 months, we've tracked 36 plus million revenue.
Wow.
And close to about 3 million leads. And of all the leads that have come from Facebook ads specifically, we've found that on average, within a 30-day window across all the clients and funnels, they're worth about $4.69. And that new benchmark is like phenomenally like helpful of like what is the value of a lead coming from Facebook, because any agency in the world and any ads product is going to tell you your cost right out of the gate very easily. Like anybody could tell you how much money you're spending. But tracking that ROI beyond just a pixel and beyond just that 28 days is really the thing that we're after here. So,
and I think most people, especially like, oh, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
No, go ahead. You go first.
No, I was going to say, I think it's so smart because most people don't track after that first month, where LTV could go on for 2 years, right? Like you could have 2 years stick into your software where you're actually, every client is really worth $2,000. You have an LTV of 2,000, but most of the pixels only go for 30 days. So your LTV is all kinds of skewed in your analytics, where it looks like your real customer value is $200 when it's 2,000. All of a sudden you can spend a lot more money to acquire customers through that funnel.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and so a lot of our users are, people that sell like high ticket information products, right? Mm-hmm. They sell $2,000 plus programs, software companies that have like the lion's share. Like if we're going to do 80-20 here, 80% of that revenue comes after that 28-day reporting window, right? Especially with software companies. I mean, it's their entire subscription businesses. And so it becomes really difficult to track that ROI over time. So I'd say like our, in our journey of transitioning from an agency into software was really interesting, right? So we ran Facebook ads to actually hire our first developer, by the way. So
we did the same thing. It's a good strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like literally $200 a month. I can sit in front of all the engineers in Santa Barbara, and any recruiter would have cost me 10, 15 grand. A post on like LinkedIn would have cost me $200.
Yep.
And all the engineers in Santa Barbara knew who we were before like anybody else in the world knew who we were. So it was great. So then
that's so cool.
Then we hired another engineer in July. We did our private, beta, I should call it alpha release, quite honestly, in August. Right. And then we hired a third engineer in September. And our first release, we were really going after kind of the funnel marketer, like all the Leadpages-esque and ClickFunnels crowd to help them get better funnel managers. And a lot of them, honestly, were it was difficult to serve them. Let's just say that. And they really kind of fought us a little bit on price. They were always kind of under lower level plans of the small segment of people that we got on. And so that we kind of came back to the drawing board. We got our Facebook integration rocked, kind of did, added in some new dashboards and features specific. And we changed gears to Facebook advertisers. And so we tested Facebook advertisers, and they loved it because they're spending money on Facebook ads, and it's like if they don't have their numbers, they're going to lose thousands of dollars. So they really appreciate FunnelDash. And then most recently we've learned that most Facebook advertisers are actually agencies, because a lot of people still don't manage their own ads in-house, and so a lot of what we do now is really geared towards agencies. And that was like, as a marketer, it was kind of humbling to be like, oh, I know this market, but it's really also kind of humbling to really experience not hitting it exactly on the head out of the gate with who our ideal target market was.
The product market fit there, which is always the hardest thing to do.
Oh my gosh. So
hard.
I thought I just had it in the bag, and I totally didn't. So our public beta, came out about 6 months later, literally just this last month in February. And the response has been so much better, so much happier of people.
That's good, man. Well, I'm glad you found the right product market fit. And that's what it's really about. Like, you got to have those alpha and beta periods. You got to ship early, and you're going to be like, oh crap, I misjudged something. And I think that's everyone's journey. But here, Bobby has a question. She said, as an agency or freelance consultant, what is the best way to market the FunnelDash service and benefits? So there's an ideal kind of customer there where it's an agency advertiser there.
So yeah, the secret sauce of really how I was able to scale an agency before FunnelDash, and people ask us all the time, how did you get to a point where you're charging $6,500 to 25, 30 grand a month in retainers from these like A-list marketers? And it's really all the other agencies out there compete on what have you done for me lately? I'm going to do this strategy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And we would go up against sometimes agencies that, or like clients, they'd be like, they would like talk to 12 different agencies, and they'd be like, you guys are, the best. And the thing why we were able to charge a premium was because we provided value first before we pitched anything, and we took a data-driven approach. And so as an agency, we systemize our sales process by auditing a Facebook ad account. And while most people, you want to deliver, an audit, like our journey of an agency, we were like, always, what's the golden carrot to really get in front of our ideal clients? And so I see all these agencies, they say, we'll run your ads for free, or we'll do it on a performance-only basis. And they do these like great lead magnets to get great response, but awful clientele. And so when we started building funnels, we partnered up with paid media agencies because all their crappy leads that weren't ready for paid traffic needed funnels. So it was a great referral system. I was like, great, well, this is awesome. We should start running traffic and start providing that service so that we could attract not only crappy paid media leads, which are great funnel leads and great paid media leads. And so then we started doing the thing that everybody that was interested in paid media, the golden carrot was a paid media audit. So we audited their ads. And so how all our agencies are now using FunnelDash is they use the one dashboard, our Facebook ad audience audit dashboard. And so they have their clients sign up for free 30-day trial of FunnelDash, authenticate their Facebook ad account, and FunnelDash instantly tells them the best performing age, gender, location, device, time of day, country, things that took us 20 plus hours to audit an account. And it would only be worth it because of us charging so much, that agencies pretty much deliver that audit. And when they get kind of like halfway through the list of like, here's all the recommendations, or here's kind of what your best performing segments are, like their prospective clients are like, our agencies aren't giving us this data. They're not looking at this level of analysis. They're not even telling me like what a click lead and a customer is worth. Like, and they literally are stopping our agency clients like they did us and saying, okay, we've heard enough. Like, how do we work together? Like, tell me the terms. And that's like the best place you can be, where you've provided so much value so quickly, so early on that you don't even have to pitch yourself.
Right. So basically data-driven audits. And so what you guys used to do manually, you've turned into a basically SaaS service as a software that you guys can just have, your agency people can run through, can have the data scientist audit already, helps them kind of move them forward in the process, which I remember we did. I was started in services too, and we definitely did not have that high level of reporting. I can tell you just hearing it, I'm like, man, we must have really missed the boat on a lot of things there, because we were just looking at basic metrics like ROI, which ad group worked, which ad targets worked. Never really broke it down further than that, and I guess you're learning a lot here, so probably should change that. So I have a couple questions in here too.
I'll tackle this question in a minute, but that one dashboard was designed for agencies to land high-end clients, specifically, audits that really want to scale from 10 grand a month to 100 grand a month, right? And we design other different dashboard templates, for different use cases all the time with different experts. So we have other different dashboard templates, for other people, but that's the one that's like incredibly popular for us, right now.
I saw that before, where you had that kind of set up where it said, we go into different dashboards by the experts. So those are high-end clients that you guys work with, and you're kind of bringing their secret sauce into your platform for your agencies to use as well.
Yeah, like when I looked at FunnelDash, here was the kind of hypothesis I had like before building FunnelDash. I looked at all the marketing analytics stacks, and I was like, if you're going to sell to an entry-level marketer, like, what's the one thing that we need? We're lazy, give us templates. So I was like, Infusionsoft did great at delivering automation campaign templates with their marketplace. Leadpages did a phenomenal job delivering landing page templates, ClickFunnels, template funnels, digital marketers giving us template swipe copy. I'm like, why is there like still an entire vertical in the marketing stack of analytics and dashboard tools that they all start on a blank canvas? And everybody that's going into these don't know anything about what metrics they should track, how to calculate those metrics, what's good, what's bad. They just know that this dashboard integrates with this tool, and I want to show those numbers in one central place. And so they all compete on volume of integrations and customization and sophistication. And we wanted to compete on the end result, which is what everybody wants, which is insight and really like simplicity. And so we're like, is there a tool? We want to build a dashboard tool that has dashboard templates. And a lot of the experts that we partner with, like our Jeff Walker opt-in value dashboard, for example, he has a YouTube video you can Google, and it's all about the portfolio value of an email address across all his launches. So we go to Jeff, in the fall of 2016, and we're like, what's your dream dashboard? We're thinking like, this is a great idea, but when it comes down to the practical reporting, people are only really looking at their numbers on a weekly basis. What happened last week? What happened last week? What happened last week? But some marketing activities take not more than a week to mature, right? Especially if you're not in the top 3% or 1% of marketers. A lot of people do a lot of marketing activities, and they don't generate like instant exact ROI at day zero. That's like the dream of online marketing, right?
Right.
And so sometimes they take several months to mature. So anyways, that's kind of how we approach designing dashboards. Is we want to get behind the scenes of like, Amy Porterfield, you're phenomenal at Facebook ads. Like, what dashboard do you look at? And metrics are you looking at? And how can we 80-20 that and automate that so that people don't have to configure any dashboards? And they can just like integrate, and then it's there.
How was Jeff Walker's? Was it pretty crazy big? Like he wanted something really crazy?
Honestly, it's really interesting. They're all very similar in terms of reporting windows. Seems to be a big challenge for people. Like everyone's just reporting stuff on a weekly basis, and when you kind of start to see how your marketing matures over time across all different funnels, and look at that lifetime, value of a lead across the different funnels, it becomes really insightful. And so, it's really eye-opening. When we're able to deliver the report, and they're like, "Holy crap! I didn't know this was worth this. We should spend more."
I'm sure like some of those guys who do like Marie Forleo and Jeff Walker and all the big experts you work with, they probably have leads that come in years before that probably end up buying years down the road. So they're like, LTV is probably crazy, but they don't even know it, because if you're looking at a week by week, you would never know. Like the 1,000 leads you brought in last week, you might only have a break even, but over the course of 2 years, you may be 200 or 2,000 times ROI on your ad spend. So it's pretty crazy once you kind of go on a bigger scale. So I would kind of love to know also kind of how you do you do the cross-device stuff? Because I think that's been the big problem with a lot of different platforms is how do you do that tracking? I don't even know. That's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah,
anyway.
we're actually not trying to solve that problem. I know, like the way we look at it is we're a dashboard company that has tools to help enhance your tracking. So some of our tools that help people enhance their tracking are like an auto Facebook ad tagger, where you click a button and it'll automatically add all the UTM source data to your URL, so you know what ad they clicked on, what was the audience of the ad and the source of the ad and whatnot. Another thing, that enhances our tracking is our UTM link builder. So we make UTM naming conventions for people so they can have more accurate link tracking. And then like a third tracking enhancer tool is our JavaScript. And really, our JavaScript plays a really simple role in tracking. And I think a lot of people just hear the word JavaScript tracking and they assume that we're, doing some crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, what everybody's doing right now is they go to the Facebook pixel and they say, I got 1,000 lead conversions from the Facebook pixel. Let me go into my CRM and actually verify those pixel conversions with the leads and verify those pixel conversions with real revenue. And so we have dashboards where it's just a verified lead and a verified revenue dashboard. And our JavaScript is the link between your ad spend and the UTMs, and then it connects that to the email address that opts in on your page. And what a lot of people used to do is they would create all these hidden field forms and they would merge those UTMs into their CRM, and then they try to pull those reports. And then you're trying to pull reports in a CRM that doesn't have cohorts, and you can't really do like really deep analysis. And it's a pain in the ass, honestly. Like CRMs are not. Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. So our JavaScript just connects that, and then what we do, once we verify that email, we just look back at the revenue associated with that contact record in your CRM. And so we're not really trying to get crazy beyond that, because at the end of the day, marketers still go back to what their web analytics say and then what their CRM says. And we're not we're actually more focused on the dashboard route than we are becoming a more accurate solution. We think that a lot of dashboard companies or analytics companies have kind of died 1,000 deaths of trying to be the most accurate solution out there. And so we're not if you're looking for a cross-device tracking, we're not the solution for you. But if you're looking to verify your pixels against your leads in your CRM, we are. Bobby says, smart. Yes. Okay, great. I am smart. I'm going to tell my mom you said that tonight. So that's
you need to come on Demio Discover to get validated. That's awesome.
Yeah, and so there's also like fingerprinting and cookie and IP tracking. And so one of the things that we're learning along the way is we may actually separate out our tracking tools and enhancers into a separate brand and really lower the price to help people get more accurate data so that people don't confuse us with an analytics company that's doing a bunch of cross-device fingerprinting stuff. And we are kind of doing a little bit of that in our JavaScript stuff, but that's not really why people use FunnelDash, and it's not really our value prop. And I think if somebody signed up for that, then we'd probably let them down.
Well, what would you say? Let me just ask you then. What would you say your value prop is, like in a very short sentence?
Yeah, I would say we give you the data and the insight that you need to scale your funnel with paid media, and really that comes down scaling. For a lot of people, they need to double their ROI first, and they need to cut the fat. So our big headline is like double your ROI from Facebook ads, and we come in and we audit it, and that's kind of where our sweet spot is. And then for agencies, it's a little bit of a different value prop that we're building out marketing materials for, but it's like how to use FunnelDash to get, land, and retain high-end clients. And really we teach them our process that I perfected with our own agency by using these dashboards to manage the relationship. And it creates this cadence with your clients where every week you should, as an agency owner, you want to be spending your time managing the account, growing the account, and executing on the account. And so many agencies get caught up pulling reports, calculating numbers, analyzing the data, and then communicating the insight. And that takes up so much time that
or you have an employee that has to do that.
Yeah, or they're having like a VA or like a person, like a dedicated like a metrics manager or an analyst, like a campaign analyst that you pay whatever. And so this frees up agencies' time to focus on selling and providing recommendations. So we've actually, a lot of our users, we're actually connecting them, with our agencies. So when free trial users sign up with FunnelDash, we find that they get the most success when they're paired up with an agency partner. So one of the cool things that we do is when we do our onboarding call, we say, hey, who's here is interested in working with an agency to scale your stuff? We have agency partners. We'll connect you guys so they can deliver the audit for you. And the success and the happiness and the implementation is like so much better. And the agencies love it. They get like a phenomenal lead that's qualified. The data's there, and it's like delivered on a silver platter to them. And so agencies are like hooked forever. And I tested this theory a little bit at Ontraport. I had this like white glove concierge service. And so we're just kind of scaling that up a little bit because I think that independent advertisers, and if you're doing your own marketing as a business owner, I mean, David, you probably know, like you've got so many other things. And so you really don't do what you should do in terms of your marketing. You're just doing the 80-20 of it because you're just trying to get it done. And so FunnelDash kind of gives you a lot of the data of the things that you should be doing. And so we find that agencies are the ones that typically are implementing that stuff. And that's why we're trying to pair them up with agencies, because they become more successful and retain longer when they are.
I was going to say, I mean, I think you guys have really nailed it, because for the most part, for the solopreneur side, let me just reset.
Okay.
Just had a small echo. Didn't want to go with that. But from a solopreneur side, there's so much to do all the time. Like you're just overwhelmed with items to do, from marketing to sales to customers to product. It's so overwhelming. That's why there are so many agencies and outsourced marketing and sales and advertising agencies that just, have a lot of great customers. And I think there is that point of overwhelm when you build your funnel, then you're going live and all these things, and you don't know what's working. And like, you need to spend like a couple hours a day looking at your metrics to really understand what's going on, and you're trying to pull it. So a tool like yours makes so much sense. Like you said, I think you really said it well, which was help you double your ROI. So test your numbers, learn what's working, double your ROI by doubling down on what's working, cut the fat on what's not working, let the dashboards give you real data of what you need to do, and not spend the time trying to pull all that information. And then even when you're ready to go, I think the best time to go with an agency is when you know what's working. Because agencies then can come in, and their job is, let's scale, we'll monitor it every day, while you go off and do the rest. Go do the customer fulfillment, go build the other parts of your business, focus on what you have to do. But, I really, just coming from the agency side, I've seen people go straight to agencies without ever testing their funnel, without, testing their advertising. They don't even know their product market fit or their customer avatar. So it's like, you go in an agency and you're just like, hey, run my stuff. They don't even, they're not going to know your business as well as you. So,
yeah, totally.
It's awesome. That's a great system to set up.
Yeah. What's embarrassing is when we were actually our very first client, actually after I left Leadpages, our very first client, they were with us for a year, and we crushed it for them. We made them several $1 million. They weren't advertising on Facebook. They didn't really have a funnel. We built them a webinar campaign, and they made phenomenal money with us. But after about a year, they just kind of had this whole like what if scenario. There was some other consultant that came along, and they're like, hey, these are great numbers in the spreadsheet that Game Changers delivers to you on a single week, but how do you know that they're verified? How do you know that they're not lying? And so then, because we became so powerful and ingrained in their business that we were running ads, doing the funnel, and reporting on the metrics. Those three are incredibly valuable, and we teach agencies how to own all three of those areas. But they just cut the cord. They were paying us $25,000 a month, and they just cut the cord because they were like, we don't know like if what you're doing is really actually working. And we didn't kind of get a say to verify that. This is all before FunnelDash, was built, and we were still kind of testing out our theories. And so now what we do is for agencies, we also play a third-party validator role. So instead of like an agency reporting numbers in a spreadsheet, which as a client is always questioning, they're in the back of their mind, they'd be like, oh, these are great numbers, but they're like, where are they getting these numbers? Are these Facebook pixel numbers? Are these view-through conversions, which is the biggest crock of crazy attribution I've ever heard of? And we can dive into that, but they're questioning. They're questioning like the legitimacy and the accuracy of an agency's number, and they're like, they all just think that they're skewing them to make sure that they're all looking like at great numbers. And so we come in and we're just like this kind of middle manager between the agency and a paid media manager or funnel manager's relationship, and being like, no, this is what the Facebook pixel says, this is what the CRM says. And I hope that FunnelDash like prevents that from ever happening to like any agency where they just lose trust in your numbers.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I mean, there's such human element in that along with the data. So you guys really become like the data scientists in the middle. But that really makes so much sense. And that sucks that you guys kind of got hit with that from a consultant like that. But guys, let's go ahead. Let's flip over to some live Q&A. Guys, I would love to hear your questions about advertising. Zach has worked with he just got done doing a huge launch with a really amazing marketer. So he has a lot of insight on what's working right now. And while we wait for your questions to come in, David had a question. He said, what's a good test budget and timeline for Facebook ad campaigns for the real estate niche? I haven't done real estate niche in a while. David, what are you doing exactly in the real estate niche? There's a lot of different things. There's like wholesaling.
Real estate investing, is a category. So whether are you selling real estate or are you in real estate investing would be a great clarifying number there. And then also test budget. I mean, most agencies will kind of come at it and say, hey, we need $5,000 to $15,000 to test. And testing is this relative thing, right? Like you want, and then initially, like all that money is essentially going to testing, right? But testing is relative to where your business is at, right? I mean, like if you have $1,000 to test or you have $500 to test, we typically say with FunnelDash users, you're not going to really get value out of it unless you're spending probably $1,000 a month in ad spend. If you're spending less than that, but maybe you want to spend to that, right? Then you can come and use it and sign up for a trial and figure out kind of what your baseline, click, lead, and customer value is, and it would be eventually valuable when you start advertising with Facebook. But I think I would say testing budget's all kind of relative, but you want to test. Initially, you're just purely testing your creative. Like that's the first thing you want to be testing is make some assumptions on your custom audiences and your lookalike audiences, and find a good piece of creative and copy that's getting 2 to 3% click-through rate. And
can I just stop?
That's hard to do all in itself.
So you're saying something really cool. With those creatives, are you doing the same text and just changing the creative? So you're doing 5 to 10 different creatives with all the same text? Or are you changing the text and the creative? Obviously, you want to keep a couple variables similar. What are you doing exactly there?
Yeah, so you can test like a long form copy and a short form copy, or one. And you might test, 2 or 3 different creatives, but every test is going to take, 100 clicks or so to really validate. So if your clicks are $2, then you're looking at a couple $100. So you can kind of add all that all adds up. One of the early mistakes I made was like, I would just crank out a ton of creative and I'd test it all. And then none of it was really significant because I had spread out my budget like too thin. And so, the bigger your budget, the faster your learnings. But some people just can only spend a couple $1,000 a month, and they're testing just a little bit every single week and learning over time. So
that's really smart. That's actually really, really helpful, because I think a lot of people that are just starting to know, keep it small. You're testing, keep it small. Make the data that you get really matter what works. I think long form versus short form is a really good test. The different creatives. You mentioned doing custom audiences or lookalike. Do you not do like precise or general interest? You just start with those kind of lookalikes, I think?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of data. We kind of stay away from specific likes and interests. And the reason being is in the ad auction, everybody's bidding on, all your competitors are bidding on, for example, John Loomer or Marie Forleo or Brendan Burchard, people are bidding on that particular interest. And so when you have all these competitors bidding, the way the auction works is your costs go up and it becomes more expensive. But when you have a custom audience and a lookalike audience, it's essentially your own audience and you're the only one bidding on it. So it performs generally better from what I've seen, in the last, I don't know, this is probably the last year and a half or so that I've seen this really take effect.
But for someone just starting, how would they come about one of those?
It's all about custom audiences, honestly. Like, it's not about just one custom audience anymore. It's about a dozen lookalike audiences. And so, we work with clients, and even in our audits, we give people optimization roadmaps and be like, you should do a lookalike off of your webinar registrants, lookalike off of your customers, off of your high value customers, off of your 30-day customers, off of your 30-day visitors. And you can test all those different lookalikes. You can test 3% lookalikes, 1% lookalikes. Those are all really valuable audience tests to be rocking.
That's awesome. I mean, that's super valuable to know. I didn't even think about that. I mean, now thinking about that, I'm going to look at our own ad campaigns and see where can we break those down farther, because I think we still do a lot of precise interest and stuff like that. But that's really awesome to know. We got a question here, by the way. Is FunnelDash for advanced advertisers, or could it help rookies? He has a funnel, but it's amateur at best. I would say no matter what level of advertising or marketer you are, analytics and metrics are the most valuable thing that you can have in your arsenal. So I would say definitely for a rookie, it would be very helpful, give you better insights. But I'll let you kind of answer that one too.
Yeah, I mean, if you plan on having revenue in your business in the next 30 to 90 days, then great. If you plan on driving traffic to a funnel in the next 30 to 90 days, then FunnelDash is a good fit. But if you're at this stage of building your course and still building your funnel, and you're really, probably, just starting out, and you're not kind of looking at that within that 30, 90 day range, FunnelDash is probably not a good fit for you. Yeah. And it is for the audit is most valuable for people that have spent, north of $5,000 in ad spend. And so a lot of people that come in are agencies that want to work with those types of clients, right? We help agencies all the time go from, $500 to $2,000 a month retainers to $5,000 a month retainers purely by working with clients that aren't spending $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month, but spending $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 a month.
So leveling up the clientele as well, finding the right clients for their business and stuff. Because there's a lot of people that just want to spend $1,000 a month, and I'm sure there's a freelancer contractor somewhere that could take that revenue. But I think for most agencies, it's a very tough client because you're not making much revenue. A lot of time is being spent in managing that account, and you probably end up losing money on that account, to be honest with you, because they'll probably be high touch too.
Yeah, I mean, there are different models for agencies, but and I've never really understood how agencies scale with $300 a month retainers, $500 a month retainers, but there are thousands of course owners and software companies and service companies that need their funnels managed, that need their paid media, Facebook ads managed. And they need somebody that has an analytical mind, that's detail-oriented, to look at all these things and execute on them. And it's so much easier to work with a handful of clients that pay you $10,000 a month, or 10 clients that pay you, $5,000 a month or whatever, than it is to try to just get a crap ton of small clients that don't pay much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the same can be said with I guess any business model type it's the way to get to bigger monthly revenue. You can increase your pricing, work with less customers that are better fits, but you gotta know that product market fit. And it's kind of hard to sell a $3,500 to $5,000 a month contract if you're not really at that level yet, the advanced level where you can even offer that kind of service. So I think for everyone, it's just about that product market fit. Let me just read Ramon's question here. If I'm interested in managing Facebook ads for clients spending $2,000 a month or more, what's your onboarding process like for someone like Ramon?
Ramon, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. That's perfect. So what you would do is you would essentially probably do this for yourself first, but you would go create a free trial at FunnelDash.com, 30 days, or depending on your relationship with the client, you'd have them create a 30-day free trial of FunnelDash. You'd log in. You would authenticate your Facebook ad account so FunnelDash could pull in that data, and then you'd click on the dashboard, Facebook ad audit. At that point, you'd schedule pretty much a setup call and a paid media audit where we'll deliver your first paid media audit. Many agencies invite their client to the call, and then we do the audit with them. And so we're happy to do that for you as well. It works really well for clients when you're kind of selling with a software company. Or if you have access to their own, if you already have access to their ad account, you can just authenticate your Facebook account, and FunnelDash will give you a drop down of all the ad accounts that you have access to, and then you can pull in the data that way. That's how that would work.
That's awesome.
That's how that works.
Well, guys, keep those questions coming in. We have just about 6 or 7 minutes left. But I would love to know from you, you still run a lot of service stuff. You're still running some agency stuff. You got FunnelDash, you have the software, you have insights into other people's accounts. For people that are running advertising for their own businesses, what kind of advice would you give as far as what key metrics that you would just look at, just from a very intro level standpoint? Like if you could go back and tell yourself, when you were just kind of starting, what kind of advice would you give yourself?
What's the value of a lead, an email subscriber, and ROI? Focus on ROI. So many people and advertisers are still focused on cost per lead and cost per lead. And I have the data that proves that sometimes your highest cost per lead is actually the one that gets you the greatest ROI. And it's shocking to people. And so a lot of people are purely just running ads, like trying to get cheap leads. And we had one FunnelDash user that went an entire year spending $20,000 a month trying to get sub $2 leads. And like they didn't make any money off of those people because they were focusing on segments that got them cheap leads. What you got to do is change your thinking to really what I call like a Warren Buffett, right? You don't want to be like this like penny stockbroker of paid ads, right? You don't want to go into your ads and being like, I only want to buy penny stocks, or I only want to buy dollar leads or dollar clicks purely because of based on price. And you want to be like, well, a Warren Buffett investor and be like, I'll throw down, $200,000 for like that Primo, Berkshire Hathaway stock because it consistently produces returns. And you've got to look at your ads in the same way. And the first thing that I think kind of gets you to that level is really knowing the value of your lead, so you can at least start to compare your cost per lead to your value per lead. And then ultimately just start looking at what's my return on my ad spend and by when. Because your ROI is going to be different at day 0, at 30 days, at 60 days, at 90 days. And I really encourage people to be like, take a breather and look at the lifetime ROI. Look at the bigger picture. One of our core values is, be in it for the long haul. And
that's going to be a big one for people, because there's a very short, like with advertising especially, there's a little bit of a fear and short-minded thinking that kind of goes hand in hand. Fear is, am I spending money and not making a return? Fear is, am I blowing money and I don't really know what's happening? Fear is this enough ad spend? Is this not enough ad spend? There's kind of that mystery shroud there that causes fear. And on the other side, it's not really having the patience to see it all the way through for that 60, 90 days to really see when that return comes. So like you said, the sales cycle for a cold lead on advertising may be different than a one-on-one sales call where you're making the call. I know my ROI today. I know my sales today. But if you're talking about cold leads and nurturing and like the sales cycle, you might have a 120-day sales cycle. You may not even know that. Apologize about that. But you may not even know that. So you need to be kind of patient there with that advertising thing. I think that's really cool. And that was really great advice, by the way. That was awesome advice.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I would say for Matt, how do you get started with our agency program? Go to FunnelDash, sign up for a free trial, schedule an onboarding call, and tell us you're an agency. We'll fill you in. I mean, there's agencies that specialize in all kinds of things. Some are great at getting people started, getting from $0 to $1,000 in spend. Some are better at going from 1,000 to 10. Some are really sophisticated. And I think one of the key things of having an agency success is categorizing your clients by sophistication. And sometimes it's purely about connecting an agency who's very sophisticated with an also very sophisticated media manager, or having like an entry-level client and connecting them with like an entry-level media buyer so they can kind of grow together. And that's what we try to do. So we want to know, hey, what are your strengths? What's your sweet spot? And so agencies are going to be a big part of FunnelDash's story and also long-term success. And so we want to make sure that it's a good fit for you guys. And then if we can send clients your way, that's fantastic, right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Matt, I hope that helped. And we did kind of talk a little bit about the beginning as well. So as always, guys, this will be up on the Inside Demio blog. I want you guys, if you missed some of it, go back, listen to it. We have lots of cool stuff. Now, you'll also, after we end this webinar, get access to FunnelDash, to follow Zach as well. Any last questions or any last things that you want to leave with the audience today, Zach?
No, man, I love everything you guys are doing, and it's just been super fun to come in and kind of chat and just share the story. So I'm kind of, reading about your guys' learnings along the way, and I'm also really excited about that. We'll obviously, push this up on our blog as well and kind of do a recap as well for you. But I would say, webinars, like one of the, just to kind of put a little notch in your guys' corner here, people come in and they look at funnels. Like they come in and they categorize all their funnels. And so we have like webinar funnels and 4-part videos and free plus shipping stuff. And I consistently see webinars perform the highest value of a lead and the highest customer values in terms of funnel types. Yeah. And so that also says a lot to our customer base. But if you're kind of at the stage of, hey, I run ads, I'm trying to kind of figure out what my funnel looks like, webinars is like, it's a great place to hang around and optimize. And you guys are doing some really cool stuff. I was just on a whole thing earlier today, and I was like, why do like online meetings still suck? Like people were struggling to get on, and so actually Citrix and GoToWebinar, they're actually based here in Santa Barbara, and so they're in our backyard, and it's kind of interesting to kind of hear their journey and also how they've plateaued a little bit. So love everything you guys are doing, and I would encourage everybody to kind of keep on the webinar track.
I appreciate that, man. I think you said a good word in there, which was optimize. And every week we talk about webinars. I say, optimization in webinars is the key. I was just talking to someone the other day who now runs a webinar to cold traffic, and it's like converting at 18% on cold traffic. He ran it 56 times before he got his conversion there. He tested that much, and every webinar he was making like $50,000 to $60,000 in return, or just in revenue from those webinars. And because he was just spending buku dollars, like $5,000 a day on advertising. And now he's going to affiliates and he's just making like $150,000 to $200,000 per webinar just because he took the time to optimize initially with cold traffic to really dial that in. I mean, so he has a solid way to get himself to a multi-million-dollar SaaS business basically just by using webinars to optimize. So it's pretty crazy the power of optimization. And thank you, Bobby. I'm just writing to you. So thank you so much. To all of you guys, make sure you go check out FunnelDash. Again, I'll link it to you at the end of this redirect here after you redirect out of here. Zach, I can't say enough. You're an awesome guy, man. I've been following your stuff, like I said before. And I'm really excited to hear that you guys found some better product market fit. I love the idea of the agency stuff. So I'm just excited for you guys, and we'll catch up very soon. To everyone else, I wish you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
Cool. See you guys.
Later.